Hello children. So today we start the topic of bearings. We call it true bearings. What are bearings? This is a technique of doing navigation, and typically in seas where you don't have any GPS location, right? In our today's world we have GPS, but earlier days there was no GPS. So how do you tell your exact location when you are in high seas? You don't see the coastline, but you have a walkie-talkie, right? Walkie-talkie was invented long back. Now you have to communicate your data, your exact location to the coast or your control room. How will you communicate? So we have a technique called true bearings technique, where we take a chart paper, put scales, put protractor. You would have seen in some movies where these people exactly plan their location, they identify their location, they identify the location of enemy. So exactly what they are doing, they are using true bearings. We'll also understand this. So for us, true bearings is basically a technique of navigation. Okay, so let's start. Suppose this is a coastline. So this is the coast and this is high seas. Okay, so you start from one point P. Your boat is starting from here. You are here and you go in some direction and you go something like 50 kilometers in this direction. Okay, in some direction you have left, right? Then you turn and reach here. This you have traveled 90 kilometers on high seas, right? At that time you get to know that you have forgotten something. So now, or you are in emergency. So what happens is you have to send your location, right? Now your boat is here. How will you communicate where you are to the people who are in the control tower here? There is a control tower. So you can speak on walkie-talkie, on wireless, but you have to tell your location. How will you communicate? You don't have any GPS, you can't tell your longitude, latitude, right? So what exactly the person used to do? He used to note one thing, the direction from north when he is moving. This is north. So I will use another line. Every time when a sailor he moves in a line, so he will say that I moved in this direction. This is due north. So we call this degree. Suppose he moved at a degree of 40 degrees and he is going in this direction. So he says, I was moving on bearing of 40 degrees and I traveled for 50 kilometers. You can tell that. Now, here you draw once again northeast, southwest. Right? If this is 40, this is also 40 alternate interior angles, right? You know that. Now, he turned. Now, in which direction is going? Suppose he is going at 130 from north and he traveled 90, right? Now see, he will say, I traveled for 40 kilometers on a bearing of 40 degrees. I traveled for 50 kilometers on a bearing of 40 degrees. Then I took a turn which was bearing 130. That means bearing is always from north. So 130 and then I moved 90 kilometers. This much information he will relay to the control tower. Now they will draw this kind of diagram on the chart paper. Okay. Now they will see that if this is 40, this angle is 40, if this is 130, how much is this? This is 50. Together how much it is? 90 degrees, correct? Now, if you draw a line from here to the target location, this is your actual distance from the starting point. So since it is a 90 degrees, it is a right angle triangle and your distance will be square root of 50 square plus 90 square using Pythagoras theorem. 50 square plus 90 square kilometers, right? So now you know the distance, how much, if some ratio has to go, but which direction it has to go. 50. Now what is this value? Let's calculate this value. (102.96 kilometers). 102.96 kilometers, approximately 103 kilometers. Okay. We know the rescue has to go how much? 103 kilometers. Which direction? Will it go this direction, which direction? It can go, it can be so many directions. We know that he has to go in which direction? on the chart paper, when he has to go in this direction from north. From north, how much degrees, right? So for this is already 40. If we get to know this angle, we will add to 40 and we know in which bearing this person has to go. How do you find this angle? Let this be theta. Now look at this right angle triangle. What is tan of theta? Opposite over adjacent. So it is 90 over 50. Therefore, theta is tan inverse of 9 on 5. 9 over 5. If you calculate this value, you will get this angle. And if you add to 40, you will get the total bearing, right? So what is tan inverse of 9 over 5? Do in your calculator. It is 60.95. 60.95, approximately 61 degrees, but in bearing, even 0.5 degrees matters more, because, so we will add up the bearing, 60 plus 40.10, 100.95 degrees. So the total angle is how much? 100.95 degrees. So rescue, which has to go, it has to travel at what bearing? 100.95 degrees, and for how much distance? 103 kilometers. You understand? You appreciate the value of bearings. So bearings is a fantastic tool to basically, tell your location or find your location. And suppose you have to return directly, then you will have to go in which direction? You have to go in this direction, correct? How to calculate that direction? Let's see this. So if this is 50, this angle is also 50. Okay, alternate interior angle. Now what about this triangle, this angle? If I get to know this angle, I will subtract 360 minus this plus this. I will get the final answer, right? So this is already 60.95. So this is how much? 60, and total should be 90. So it is 29.05, correct? Because the sum of these two is 90, because it's a right angle triangle. 90 is already here. It's 60.95 is here. So 29.05 here, which makes it 180. Okay. So now look at this angle. If I have to calculate this one, can I subtract 360 minus sum of these two? Okay. So we'll do that. 360 minus 0.05 minus 50, 280.95. This angle is 280.95 degrees. Now after the rescue has arrived, he decides to come back. So he will have to travel how much? He has to travel 103 kilometers at a bearing of how much? 280.95 to reach here. If he decides to travel at this degree, he will directly reach from where exactly he started. Understood? So it is very easy, true bearings. So we have some questions and exercise which we will try to do. Okay. I hope you have understood, right? If you have missed something you have not understood, play back this video from starting, you will get it. It's very, very easy concept. Okay. Now let's do some questions on this. So this exercise actually train you to do bearing questions. It's starting from very basics and slowly it moves forward, right, to complicated ones. So draw bearing diagrams representing bearing from O. So first one, let us draw 3 northeast southwest, okay, 3 axes. Now 136 degrees. 136 degrees is definitely here, because from here to here 90 and here is 180. So 136 degrees will be where? See, that idea you should get. 136 degrees will be somewhere here in this direction. 136 degrees. So this idea you should get. That's why these kind of questions we are doing. Okay. Now 240. 240 is between, say this is 0. If you come here, it is 90. Here you have 180 and here you have 270 and back 360, because we are starting 0 from north. So where will we 240? 240 is obviously between 180 and 270. So we will draw a line here and say that this angle is bearing of 240. See, you should not get confused while measuring angles from 0. Okay, in bearings we start angles measuring from the north, from this portion. So all measurement is clockwise and that too from the north. Now what about 51? 51 is less than 90. So this is 0, this is 90. So obviously 51 has to be somewhere here. Okay, understood. So this was required. So if you practice this kind of things, you will get to know what kind of, what is actual bearing and how do you should draw. Because this is basic steps of the complicated questions, right? If you get to know this, you will be able to do any kind of bearing question. Now, next one. Find the bearing of Q from P if the bearing from P and Q. Now there are 2 points. One is P. This is point P and this is point Q. Now bearing from P to Q. How do we draw this? This angle is how much? 54 degrees. Then what is this angle? How do you find this? This is what he is asking. This angle is a question. Okay. This is 54. So this one is also 54. And from here to here it is how much? 180. So this angle will be 180 plus 54. 134. Oh, 234, sorry. 234. 80 plus 54 is 134. 134 plus 1, 234. So this bearing Q from P, the answer for this is 234. I hope you understood doing this kind of question. Let's do another one. Now this time P is here and it is 113 degrees. That means it should be somewhere here. This is Q. So this angle is how much? 113 degrees. Okay. This is 113. Now they are asking us this angle. If this is 113, how much will be this? 180 minus 113, right? Sum of interior opposite angle is 180. So this is 67. Now this angle is how much? 360 minus 67, correct? So it is 293 degrees. 293 degrees bearing. See, the bearing has to go from here to here. Understood, right? Now let's do one more. 263. If P is here and the bearing is 263, 263 should be somewhere here, all the way this way. This is 263. Now this is point Q. Now if you have to go back, so this is the bearing, right? If this is 263, how much is this angle? This one. Because this, so this 180 minus 263, how much is that? 263 minus 80, what we are doing? 263 minus 180 is 83 inside here. So this is also 83 degrees. So our answer is how much? 83 degrees. Understanding, right? Okay. Now in this diagram, let's see this diagram, interesting one. B from A. If you have to go to B from A, you are going at a degrees of how much? 27. So answer is straight away 27 degrees. Okay. C from B. If you have to go to C from B, you have to go at 151 degrees. Okay, this one. B from C. Suppose you have to go B from C. So we need this angle. Without this angle, we won't be able to do. Because you will have to travel all the way here. I'll draw it like this. All the way here. So this is already 256. If you get to know this angle, our job is done, right? To get to know this angle, let us, we will draw some axis over here like this, okay? Some axis over here like this, some axis over here like this, okay? Okay? This makes our job little easy. So this is 27, kids. 27, okay, right? Because alternate interior. How much is this? 180 minus 151, which is 29 degrees, okay? That's 29 degrees. So this one is also 29 degrees. Alternate interior. Now this is how much? 360 minus 29. 360 minus 29. 331. So he has to travel at 331 degrees. The whole thing, look from here to here. It is 331 degrees. Right? Understood, right? It's very, very easy. Now C from A. C from A. So I need this angle now. Because this already 27. 27 plus this will give us C from A. Okay. So let's do C from A. How do you find this angle? This is 27. So we know the total of this angle, and we will get to know the total of this angle. This angle, okay. So let us see how much it is. 331 plus 29. No, okay. This is 360. Okay. This whole angle is how much? 246, 331, 29. Okay. Pause. Okay. Now look at this angle. 27 plus 29 is 658. This whole angle is 58. Okay. What about this angle inside? If I subtract 360 minus 246 minus 29, I will get this. So let us do that. 360 minus 246 minus 29 is, this is 85. Now we can easily find this angle because sum of all these three angles should be 180. How much is that? $37 degrees. 37. Okay. Now 27 plus 37, 64. The total bearing is how much? 64 degrees. So C from A is 64 degrees. A from B. A from B. So you already know it is 58. You can add 151. 151 plus 58. How much is that? 209. 209. So basically this question is all about solving all the angles of triangle, then it becomes very easy. Okay. Now A from C. If you have to come A from C, so it is 246. A from C, so it's already given. This is how much? 246 degrees. Okay. With this, you have learned basic true bearing questions. Okay. We'll do one or two more questions. Let's see if I have kept them. Yeah. See this easy question. A runner A runs at 10 km/h due north. B is leaving due north. So runner A is running in this direction, in due north, and runner B is moving due east. Correct? Yeah, due east. Now he has a speed, he has a speed. Both are running for only 30 minutes. See, both are running for 30 minutes. So A runs 10 km/h. In 30 minutes, how much he will run? 5 kilometers. So this is A. So he has run how much? 5 kilometers. A is going in this direction, and B is going in this towards east, right? This is B. How much he has traveled? His speed is 12 km/h. So he will eventually travel in half an hour 6 kilometers. 6 kilometers. Right? Find the distance of and bearing of B from A after 30 seconds. B from A. A has already reached here, this point, and B has already reached. So A is here now, B is here. What is the distance? Since it's a Pythagoras, north and east are always at 90 degrees. So this is root of 5 square plus 6 square. How much is that? Root of 25 plus 36. 7.81 kilometers. 7.81 kilometers. Now, distance we have found out. We have to find the bearing of B from A. So how do you find the bearing? For bearing, you always have that line, this one. You have to find this angle. Okay. To find this angle, if we know this, I can subtract from 180. So I will find this as theta. I'll let this be theta. So tan theta is equal to 6 upon 5. 6 upon 5. Therefore, theta is equal to tan inverse of 6 upon 5. If you do this, you will get this angle. You subtract it from 180, you will get the bearing, right? So we'll subtract 180 minus tan inverse of 6 upon 5. We get 129.81 degrees. 129.81 degrees. Okay, so that's your bearing. So we have both things. Now we have the distance and we have the bearing. Okay, so very basic question. Once again, let's do the next question. A hiker walks in a direction of 153 degrees. 153 degrees. So let the hiker go in this direction. This bearing is how much? 153 degrees. Understand? Because he's traveling in this direction, that's why it is 153, and stops when she is 20 kilometers south of her starting point. 20 kilometers south means this line is 20. This distance is 20 kilometers south of starting point. So although there is a distance, but 20 kilometers south of starting point. Okay, understand? So they want you to find how much distance she walked. This distance. How will you find out? If this is 53, this angle is how much? 180 minus 53, which is 27, right? And this is 20. To find d, I will use cos. Cos of 27 equals to 20 upon d. Therefore, d equals to 20 upon cos 27. Understanding? Now, easy? So let's do this. 20 upon cos 27 gives us value 22.45. 22.45 kilometers she walked. Okay? Easy to understand? Keep pausing the video and do it yourself on the paper. You just watching the video will not help you learn. Okay? Unless and until you do, you won't learn. It's not possible. You have to do by yourself. Okay? These videos are support videos. It will only teach you how to do. You can never remember so many things, right? So don't look at my videos as a web series. Watch it, pause it, note. Okay? That's what the process of learning. Let's do another question if we have here. Yeah. An aeroplane travels on a bearing of 295 degrees. So that it travels 200 kilometers west of its starting point. So because it is traveling west, let me draw this point here. This is starting point, and he is traveling at 295. 295 is obviously somewhere in this whole angle from here to here is how much? 295 degrees. Because the whole is 360. Up to here you have 270 and 360. So 295 will be in this direction. How much it traveled? 200 kilometers west of. That means, I'll use another color to explain this. This distance is 200 kilometers west. This point is 200 kilometers west of the starting point. How far it traveled? Once again, distance, we have to calculate this distance. Okay? So join this. How do we calculate this? You need this theta, right? Up to here, how much angle it is? 270. 3 quadrants is 270. So 295 minus 270 is 25 degrees. Okay? 70, 80, 90, or 25. Right? This angle is 25. Now we have a right angle triangle. Right? And you can always use cos theta. Cos 25 equals to 200 upon d. Okay? Now what do we do? D equals to 200 upon cos 25, and this will give you your answer. So let's do 200 divided by cos 25, 220.68. 220.68 kilometers. Okay, I set my calculator to 2 decimal places, and that's what we should be following, right? In IB, you should answer your thing to 3 significant figures. If the decimal is coming in 2 decimal, that's best. Round it off to 2 decimal places and finalize your answer. Okay. So understood about this question? Easy? Let's pause, do it yourself. Once again, I'm telling you. Let's move on to the next one. Okay. The figure shows position of A, B and C. Very basic question this one. Okay, C from A. C from A. This is 30, this is 95. How much is this angle? First tell me. 95 plus 30 is 125. 180 minus 125 is 55. Okay, 55 plus 30 is 85, 80. No, it should not be 55. I was right. 55 degrees. Okay. If this is 55, this is 55. So C from A. So this angle, how much is this angle? 45 plus 55, which is 100. No, 45 plus 55 is 100 degrees bearing. Okay, understood? Now, A from B. If you have to come A from B, so you draw one line here, and this angle we need complete. We need this angle. Okay. How do we find this angle? If this is 45, this is also 45, right? And from here to here, how much it is? 180. So 180 plus 45, it is 125. How much it is? 125. Because here to here it is 180 and another 45. 180 plus 45 is 225. 225 degrees. Okay, understood now? B from C. You have to go B from C. So we need this angle complete. Okay. What all angle we know here? This is 30 degrees. Okay. And if I get to know this is 95, right? So 360 minus 95, 265. 265 degrees. So answer is how much? 265 degrees. So all three done? Right? You understood, right? Basic geometry, not even trigonometry here. If I am using sine, cos, tan, then only trigonometry is coming. Otherwise, I am using Pythagoras theorem or basic things like of angles in a triangle. Okay. Only thing which you have to learn, at every point, draw a plus, north, east, south, west. So you will be able to find the angles very easily using alternate interior triangle, okay, or angles on the same side of transversal which sum to 80, 180, right? So if you go through those theorems, so your job becomes very easy. Okay, let's see if something is there next. So we are actually come to an end of true bearings. In next video we will see advanced bearing questions. Okay, so keep practicing. Start the video from start. Okay, and pause right. This is a method you should follow. Okay, thanks.